I thought it would be different to kind of make a video talking about how I got into reading ARCs and kind of share how to get into reading ARCs. If you don't know what an ARC is, it's an advanced review copy. So you're sent an advanced copy by either the author or the publisher of a book in order to honestly review it. And then you send that review back to the author, the publishing company, or the company that sent you the ARC, as well as review for other people. When I first got into booktube, my goal honestly was to read ARCs, and I had no idea where to start, how to find them, how to connect with anyone in order to receive them. Nothing like that. It's hard to know where to look. There are so many different options out there, and then also it's just overwhelming. It can be complicated to figure out how to meet the criteria of receiving ARCs and reviewing books before they're actually published. I figured I would just do a video explaining kind of how I got into it and my advice and thoughts if you too are looking into reading ARCs and adding that to part of your TBR and so on and so forth. So to start off, obviously, okay, this is a no-brainer, but you have to read. You have to actually legitimately want to read these books. I don't think it's a good idea to just go willy-nilly and get any ARC, even if you're not interested in it. I would definitely only read ARCs that are interesting to you, and only read ARCs if it's something you actually want to do. Some people just want to read and not review, and I 100% understand that. There are definitely books that I do not feel like reviewing, especially writing out a review for it. So before getting into it, I would definitely make sure it's something you really want to do. The next thing to do would be find a way to review books. So oftentimes, even if you're using a platform like NetGalley or Readsy or anything like that to obtain ARCs, they oftentimes want you to be using some sort of social media platform or blog in order to review books, just so other people can see your review as well. A lot of the times you do not have to do video reviews. Some publishers, authors, and companies do prefer that, whether it be on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, obviously. Some prefer that, but others are okay if you just like doing Goodreads, Fable, that sort of thing. But most, if not all, want you to kind of post your review somewhere where other people can see it, so then when people go to actually buy this book, they can see different reviews, what other people thought of it, and decide if it's a book that they actually want to read. I personally love doing video reviews on YouTube, obviously, but I do not like doing reviews of just one book, which some companies and publishers want. They want like a 5-minute review and synopsis of their book. It's not something I'm into, so unfortunately I have to pass on stuff like that just because it's not the content I am interested in making, but some people are, so if that's your cup of tea, that would be great for you. I know Readsy is really into people doing that kind of content, but I also like doing written reviews on Fable. I used to use Goodreads, but I kind of fell out of it just because it stopped being as user-friendly, and then also I just find Fable is a lot more fun. It's a lot easier to connect with other readers on Fable, see other people's posts. It's more like social media and less like your own little reading journal, if that makes sense. So I did make the switch to Fable, and I always post reviews there about the ARCs that I've read, not so much about the other books that I've read. That I normally just review on YouTube, talking in a video, because I really do prefer talking about books rather than writing about them. No hate to Goodreads though. If that is the platform that you use, I think that is an amazing place to start because it's very popular, and a lot of publishing companies actually really want you to write reviews on Goodreads because a lot of people use it. So it's always a great place to review books, rate them, so on and so forth. So once you've got that kind of out of the way and you've found a solid place to actually create and post your reviews for other people to see, now comes the part that can be very daunting, and that is obtaining an ARC. I had no idea how to do that going into booktube or anything like that. I was in the dark completely until I stumbled upon NetGalley. Now, I will mostly be talking about NetGalley because I personally have not used a lot of other platforms in order to get my hands on ARCs. Occasionally, I have had an author send me an ARC themselves, which I always really love, but most of the time I get my ARCs through NetGalley. So this is a website where you can sign up, and I believe you put a link to where you will be posting your reviews, whether that be your Goodreads, your Fable, your YouTube, your TikTok, and then you write a quick bio about yourself and kind of what you're looking for in a book. You wouldn't think that this is very important, but I think it's a really great way to capture a publishing company's attention and hopefully get them to send you some of their ARCs if you request them, because some of the ARCs get hundreds upon hundreds of applications, and they only send them to a certain number of people. So you definitely want to stand out, kind of make your bio your own, I have my YouTube channel's name, a little bit about myself, and how I'm just a small booktuber, but I'd really like to branch out, read more books, slowly grow as a channel, hopefully, that sort of thing. And then I also just have like how many videos I've posted and how many views I have across those videos. Unfortunately, sometimes it is an analytics game, I think, but do not let that deter you if you're just starting out or something. It's okay to be completely 100% honest. In fact, that's what they're looking for. And a lot of the times, they're not looking for a mass following or anything like that. They just want someone who's going to give an honest review, give honest feedback, and actually read the book. And then that way they can tell who they want to market that book to. And then also you've put out a review, which anyone can then access when they're going to make the purchase of the book. So once I had all of that set up, it was really just a request and wait kind of game. I'm not sure if other platforms are like this, but with NetGalley, if you request a book and you receive it, you only have a certain amount of days. I do believe it's about 60 days to read and review that book. And if you don't, it does count against you. So you have to be very serious about actually wanting to read a book and only request so many at once, because if you request 10 books and receive 10 books all at once and aren't able to read them and rate them all, it does count against you. So you have a certain percentage, and I think they want you to stay at about 80% or above for your ratio on how many you've read versus how many you haven't read and just kind of fell by the wayside. And that is super important to keep high in order for publishing companies to see that you're actually reading and reviewing and want to give you their arc. So once again, I'm not sure if other platforms work like that, but that is a huge thing about NetGalley. You just don't want to fall behind. So if there is a book or two that you're really interested in, what I normally do is just request those 2 books. Maybe they're denied, but if they're approved, then I'm not super overwhelmed. There are also some books on there that anyone at all can automatically just start reading. You don't have to request it. These are great for, first of all, boosting your ratio percentage of how many books you've read and reviewed. And then also they're great because you don't have to wait. Sometimes if you've requested a book, it can take literal months to find out if you're going to receive it or not. So it's nice to have the option of just being able to click a book and start reading it right away. I will say with NetGalley, they're all audiobooks / ebooks. So I'd highly recommend having a Kobo or a Kindle, probably a Kindle, because occasionally Kobos are not supported with the EPUB file that they send. That's a whole different ballgame though. But anyway, I would recommend getting that unless you're comfortable reading from a phone or a tablet. It is a lot harder to get your hands on physical ARCs these days just because it's way more costly for the publishing company to send those out. So I feel with most platforms now, they mainly just do ebooks. Another thing that is great about NetGalley is if your ratio of read books is very high and a publishing company wants you to read their ARCs, they can put you on their auto-approved list. So that means any book that you request from that publishing company will be automatically approved for you to start reading. They of course can take that away though if you don't actually read the book that you've requested. So obviously use that with caution. I wouldn't just go around and request a bunch of books that you're not going to read. It is very important that you actually are requesting and reading books that you really want to review. I mean, really the most important thing about reading ARCs at the end of the day is that you are being just completely honest and genuine. Even if you can't finish a book, you just don't like it, it is so important to actually write that in your review. Just say you DNF'd it at a certain percentage because you didn't like it. Say why you didn't like it. It seems harsh, but you cannot be afraid to be harsh. That's just the way of the world. You have to review things honestly. Believe it or not, authors and publishers want to also see negative reviews as well as positive reviews because they want to know who to market their book to. So if they approve your request and you mainly love romance books and you're always reviewing romance books and giving them 5 stars, and you were approved for a high fantasy and you only make it 37% of the way through and decide it's not for you, it's so important to be completely honest and just say that that book is not for you and tell them why, and then they know, okay, so maybe people who are very, very into romance and are this age range may not enjoy this book. It's so important for them. So it might feel like you're being mean, but it is possible to write a negative review without being malicious. You're not attacking the author, you're not attacking their ideas or anything like that. You're just giving your honest opinion on why you yourself did not like it. And then that's it. You submit it and you go on with your life. I know that sounds like a duh kind of thing, but I also know a lot of people have a very hard time being critical when it comes to their reviews because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And at the end of the day, if you are given an arc, most of the times it is because it is in exchange for your 100% honest feedback. That's what they want. They don't want you to sugarcoat it. So with all of that being said, I myself have had so much fun reading arcs. There have been a few that I have not really enjoyed and have rated 2 stars. I don't think I've ever DNF'd one, but there was one that I kind of thought about DNFing and wished I had once I had finished it. But I have a harder time DNFing arcs just because I feel like obligated to finish them and give my honest review. But it can be so much fun, especially if you receive an arc that you never in your wildest dreams thought you would. I was absolutely shocked that as such a small booktube channel, I actually received Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell as an arc. Lisa Jewell is an amazing thriller author, and I requested that one thinking for sure it was going to be denied, but I actually ended up receiving it from NetGalley, and I was so stoked. Oh my goodness, I cannot even explain to you how excited I was when I received that arc. So it's definitely something to look into if you are at all interested in reading arcs. I highly recommend it. I know that this video was very different to what I normally film, but it's something I've been thinking about doing for a while, and I hope it can help at least one person who really wants to read arcs but doesn't know where to start, because that was me about a year ago. And now that I kind of know what I'm doing, I would love to share that information with other people. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or if there are any arcs that you have received that you were completely shocked about or excited about, or you really loved and you think we should all go out and buy that book, because I love getting book recommendations. But with that, I hope you have a great rest of your week and happy reading.